What's up, everybody? Welcome to Human Innovation Tarot. My name is Eddie with Imagine Life Development Center. And today I wanted to share a video with you guys that I took from a recent live tarot reading. And in this video, I'm talking about what happens when we get obsessed or overly focused on outcomes in our lives. It's not that it's necessarily wrong to have a vision, a goal, or a purpose, or even an outcome in mind. But when we are over invested or we become overly attached to outcomes, it can have actually a reverse effect in our lives. Because a lot of times, even if we get the outcome that we seek, it doesn't necessarily mean that the outcome is in our highest good. And this is why a lot of times people end up having to repeat cycles, repeat patterns, or they end up attracting things into their lives that aren't in their highest good. So with that being said, if there are any sensitive ears around you, this is just fair warning. There could be some adult language. I get very passionate in my tarot videos, so just keep that in mind. And with that being said, let's get to the video. But the divine saying, don't get too ahead of yourself now. You start getting all excited, getting all cocky, and be like, "Ooh, I done the work. I paid off." It's like, see, this is the oh, and look, at the bottom of the deck, we had luck on your side. This came out at the very beginning of the reading, way at the beginning. And here's the thing: the mistake that most people make in life is they begin to do something to get a result instead of doing something to change who they are. That's the problem, right? So, for example, I'll just use something that everybody can relate to, which is your fitness, your health, weight. People go on diets, they want to lose weight, they exercise, right? They do all these things, and it's like, I want to lose 10 pounds, I want to lose 20 pounds, or maybe it's not even about the number on the scale, it's just how you look what you see when you look in the mirror. And so people put in the work and they're incentivized by an outcome. And then once they get that outcome, they take their foot off the gas, and then they go right back to where they were before. All the weight comes back, and then they become demoralized, right? Because they were doing it for the wrong reasons. They were doing the thing to get a result instead of doing the thing to change who they are. And so the message here for you, Gina, is while you're getting very close to achieving your goal, there's also a word of caution here with this card, the meditate and contemplate. And that's to stop, collaborate, and listen. I don't know what's going on. It's almost 2 a.m. It's about that time for my mind. Things are going to get a little crazy in here. I feel it. The delirium of my brain is going to awaken at any moment here. But the divine here wants you to know. Why am I holding my drink? The divine wants you to know that you need to think about the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Because what's going to happen is you might cross the finish line, so to speak. Luck is on your side. Luck is on your side, but underneath that, we have nothing is set in stone. Luck is on your side. So the divine is saying, hey, you might get the thing that you want, but here's the problem. When you get the thing that you want, if the reason why you set out to get the thing that you want was not to change who you are, it was just to get the thing that you want, then when you get it, chances are you're going to go through a whole another cycle. You'll get the thing. You might have a period, a time where it's good, while it's good, and then until it's not so good, and then you lose the thing, And then when you lose the thing, you go back to being the old you that you were, that's used to not having the thing. So instead of progressing and evolving, you regress and you devolve. Hence my weight, my metaphor of people who gain weight and lose weight. They're doing it for the wrong reasons. It's not about the outcome. If you're doing it for the outcome, when you get the outcome, there's a strong possibility that you'll just go back to, you'll eventually fall back into the same patterns. You get complicit, you'll get complacent, you get lazy, you take your foot off the gas, and then all that hard work that you put in to get that result is all gone. Then you have to start that cycle all over again just to get back to the same place that you were. And people do this again and again and again and again in life. That's what the definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting a different result, even if the result you get was good. So what the divine wants for you, Gina, is once you get this victory that you've worked so hard to get, the divine wants you to not lose the victory. But the divine, what's more important than you getting the outcome is who you've become as a result of all of this. And that's what the divine wants you to focus on right now. And this message wouldn't be coming to me right now if it wasn't a thing. And my friend, you know that I keep it real here. I always tell you the truth. This is coming through because it's a concern. It's not set in stone. Right? Nothing is set in stone. It's not set in stone. You're not cursed. You're not damned to failure. You're not damned to going back and repeating old cycles and all of that. In fact, right now, you're very close to becoming the person that the real you that you've always wanted to be, and luck is on your side, meaning the divine is working with you. But that doesn't mean that we can't fuck it up, because we can. Anybody. It doesn't matter how long you're going, even Jesus was tempted, right? Like, it doesn't matter where you are in your spiritual growth, in your spiritual journey, how successful you are, what version of you are, and you just keep leveling up, the best you that you are, even 10 versions of you from now. There's temptations, new levels, new devils. There's always going to be that temptation. There's always going to be that challenge, that obstacle, that thing on that level of where your existence is that is going to tempt you to go back to a lesser version of yourself. And so right now, where you are in your journey, the divine just wants you to be aware of your motives and your intentions behind why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want this? Are you wanting the outcome, or are you wanting a new Gina? Are you wanting a new you? Because if it's not a new you that you're really focused on, and that's not the reason behind why you're doing what you're doing, if you're doing it to get something, to get an outcome, then you may get the outcome, but it's going to come at the expense of yourself, which ultimately just means that eventually it'll probably crash and burn, and then you're going to have to go around the mountain and relearn this lesson again. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. All the other information is in the description box below. And as always, my friends,
I'm not a bloody psychic.